Abhijith, how did you find out about the DoK?
So this is a very random story. I'm not sure whether all of you read it. I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos of Kunal Kushwaha, and one day I decided to join one of the communities of the panelists he got. Later, through that community, I found DOK students. It is so funny that how I find the same names, Kaivalya, Kunal Verma, Karuna, repeating a lot of places, and they really motivate me. And through them and through other mutual resources, I found the DOK student community.
Very good. Well, it's been wonderful having you for the short period of time you've been with us. And let's take a look at your talk. So if you want to share your screen, go for it.
Sure. And here we go.
Awesome. Let's do it.
Oh, oops. 1 minute. Yep. I hope I'm on full screen. And can we go? Is it visible?
Yep, you look great.
So we just spoke about data and space. And another topic related to space is gravity. And I'm going to talk about data gravity. So good morning, afternoon, evening, folks, wherever you are, good day. I'm Abhijith Ganesh. I'm going to talk about data gravity. So let me introduce myself. I'm Abhijith Ganesh. I'm a freshman engineering student, and I'm a FOSS enthusiast. These are my social handles. I really love thinking about technology and all sorts of jargons and all sorts of tech stuff. I love meddling with tech things. And this is basically me. Moving on. So there was once a very wise gentleman under the name of Isaac Newton who told us.
Hold on, Abhijith, really quickly. For some reason, we're not seeing the slide screen. Oh, now we are. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry, my bad.
So there was this wise gentleman called Isaac Newton who told us every object in this planet and universe attract each other. And in 2010-ish, Dave McCroy told us every data chunk in this universe attract applications. Wow, that should sound similar. So the catch here is when we're talking about gravity, we really need massive objects like sun or other stars to talk about. Similarly, when we're talking about data gravity, we bring in data-driven development. And without data-driven development, data gravity would just be a phenomenon. So what is this phenomenon? This phenomenon is where data attracts applications, services, and other data. This all sounds very abstract, but if you see it from a top level view, this is happening in day-to-day life, just like how Manik explained with Amazon. Moving ahead, let's go back to past. How is data stored? How is infrastructure stored? I mean, 1990s, of course. I'm not talking about 80s where computer was itself a research tool. In 1990s, we had computers as a mainstream integration to our lives. So what were all the issues we faced with bare metal service? What were all the issues we faced? I think this should be familiar with all of you. Large downtime coming from mechanical failure, completely immovable databases because of old technology, no data replication and redundancy. Okay, we recently had a downtime from Facebook. These problems can still happen at any time, but back in the day, it was big. I have a fun story to tell about Yahoo when they lost their data moving their hard disks in a cartwheel. Due to the vibration, they lost tons and tons of data. And all of this shows how data was the center of development in operations, DevOps. Data continues to be the center. And if you see here, I have explained how data became gold. To be honest, data was the gold, but after 2010, we really understood the value. There was major infrastructure through cloud. Data started inflowing through the cloud premises, not from moving from the on-premises software applications. We moved to cloud-hosted applications. We started having geo-redundant databases. This changed a lot of philosophical things, but one thing we should remember here too, data is the center of development. And on a very technical note, you can see data is very common in terms of model view architecture, model view templates or model view controller. Models really determine how we develop things. Okay, now enough of data gravity. What does the Kubernetes community do? So imagine this. We have provisions to allow data scaling easily. So you needn't worry about failing pods. Kubernetes would help you with that. We have speakers who are going to talk about persistent data. You should check that out. And Kubernetes really helps us with scaling easily. Moving ahead, I think you can see my screen now. This would be a dangerous world to live in. A dystopian world where you can't expand your initial storage size. So if you choose to have a 1 terabyte database server, or you're allocating 1 terabyte to your database, you can't expand it. Every time you want to expand, it's new costs, clusters, and e-waste. It will be the biggest havoc humans would be creating for this planet. Kubernetes steps in, solves this issue. And you can explore more about this through our community resources, which you can find in the chat. And the advantages I have mentioned here as well. Apache Cassandra, MongoDB are NoSQL databases which scale very well with Kubernetes. Cassandra, especially Cassandra, does really well with GCP, the Google Cloud Platform, Azure, AWS, and on-prem simultaneously if you network them well. So that's been my part. Massive shout out to Alexander because he was the major eye-opener for my introduction to this community and Cassandra project. Bart, who gave me this opportunity. Kaivalya and Kunal really inspired me. Without them, it's just me and my continuous flow of thoughts. Karuna, who made the design for me, for the initial design you saw, and Kunal for posting such awesome videos. We are not mentioning Kunal again and again because of the way he's impressed us. It's because of the content he makes. It's really wonderful, and we just are so grateful to that. And summary, data is becoming central to development. All of us know that data was central to development. Data will attract things towards each other. One change, data is movable these days. And that's it. These are my handles. Any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them. And you can check me out on these handles. Thank you.
Amazing. Absolutely incredible. Very, very well done. ¿Me puedes entender? Es que no estoy. All right. Amazing. Loved it. All right. Very, very, not exactly the, no, Abhijith, don't run away. Don't run away. Absolutely incredible. And the thing is, you were able to learn all this and explain it in such a clear and concise manner to understand concepts like portability, which you mentioned that now data can be moved safely, because in general, there's a sort of trend of like, don't touch your data, leave it alone, it's going to get messy. So jumping into these relatively complex concepts, was it overwhelming for you at first, or how were you able to figure all this out?
Initially, finding the documentation and resources was overwhelming, but going through them and understanding them wasn't. It is hard to collect resources, but it was easy to understand.
Very, very good. I just think it's a nice statement though, because you're a freshman, right? So people might think, oh, that's totally over my head, I'm not going to get it. But you went out there, you interacted with the material, you consulted some advice from Alex, who's an amazing community member, by the way. Huge shout out to Alex. He gave us a wonderful intro, like a workshop to Cassandra about a month and a half ago, I believe. And anyway, so like I said, for the people that are out there, once you find our speakers, and you watch a talk that they've given, you can directly reach out and contact them and ask them questions, right? This is what this is all about. So I think this is a very good example of that kind of interaction and those kinds of contributions that are happening. And you're also very actively involved in our How to DoK project. So that's another good thing too. And like I said, this positive attitude. If you have a positive attitude and you know that you're going to be supported by your teammates, you're going to be totally fine. And so I think your case is a very good example of that. Well, thank you very much, Abhijith. Shukriya. And we'll be seeing you in the audience. Looking forward to some good comments.